OK, I was listening to the boss yesterday on LBC, and he seemed to tie himself in knots. I don't know where we stand with this one. He was struggling when he was asked a question, can a woman have a penis? I mean, and then today in the Telegraph this morning, the NHS are now asking men if they're pregnant before they have scans. Has the world gone mad?
I think, you know what, this really upsets me because I think about a young person who's struggling at the moment, who's struggling with their identity. And when we're having a social media or a debate around what genitalia someone's got, I think it really debases the serious issues that people face in their lives. I think we should be taking it off social media, taking it away from commentators and actually having, you know, there is protections for women and women that are in vulnerable situations. And we should also be looking after our young people who may be facing identity crises and making sure they get the help and support they need. When we debase it to whether or not what genitalia you've got, I think all that does is damage people and it doesn't help us go forward on some of the real issues that people are facing.
But if there's a man who's already anxious, goes into hospital to have a scan, he's already anxious about the whole procedure, and then he's asked if he's pregnant, he's going to feel uncomfortable about it, isn't he?
Well, it depends on, you know, if a man has tried to... We've seen there's been reports...
everybody into account.
Sure, we have to take everybody into account, and that's why it shouldn't be debased into a debate that's been had on media by people who are not qualified to discuss some of these issues. They're very sensitive issues. I think we should be protecting women's spaces, of course we should, and we should be supporting people who are going through transition. And that's always been the case. There's laws in our country that currently protect people. Exactly. And I think just to make it about what genitalia someone may have...
My question is it OK to ask a man if he's pregnant?
Nobody would ask me or you whether or not we were a man, what genitalia we have or anything like that.
Is it OK to ask a man if he's pregnant?
Well, if a man was born with the reproductive because they were born as a female and they've transitioned to a male, then, you know, if they're getting medical support because they could be pregnant, then that might be a question that is asked as part of that.
So it's a reasonable question.
It would be in those circumstances, but it wouldn't be a reasonable question for me to say, have you got a penis or not? Because that's not acceptable. So for when we debase it into what genitalia someone may or may not have, I think that's a really unhelpful way of looking at the debate, to be honest. And I think it's doing real damage to people and it's scaring women who think it's about men coming into women-only spaces, which it's not. That's not the case. And it's also not supporting people who are going through transition, who need support, who can get the support, who are not trying to run into spaces that's not appropriate to them. It's about supporting people in their lives and giving them the professional support and care that they need at the time.
Yeah, very eloquent response, I have to say. Let me